I want to take you to a story that highlights just how dogmatic the Daniel Andrews government in Victoria is about stripping away the rights of law-abiding citizens to do things such as go and hunt. Now, this week, an Andrews government-led parliamentary inquiry, which was dominated by Greens and animal justice politicians, recommended that duck shooting in Victoria be banned. Now, duck shooting has been banned, I think, in places like Queensland and New South Wales and even WA for quite some time. However, the inquiry did recommend, and this is what intrigued me about this, that Aboriginal people, Indigenous people, could continue hunting as part of protecting their cultural heritage. It went further than that. The report said that duck hunters should undertake cultural heritage study. Now, I didn't know there were guns in this country before the British came along. Joining me to discuss this is Libertarian member of the Victorian Legislative Council, David Limbrick. David, great to catch up with you. Tell us about this inquiry. I mean, duck hunting has been very controversial in Victoria for a long time. I can go back 20 years to when there were protesters protesting about duck hunting, but it looks like it's about to come to an end. What's your view on that?
Well, this inquiry was set up, by the government with the support of Animal Justice Party in order to try and come up with an investigation into duck hunting. And of course, they've come out with this recommendation to ban it. But I think that they've come up with a lot of opposition that they didn't expect. As you mentioned, there's a lot of unions that are opposed to prohibiting recreational activities for their members, but also lots of Indigenous groups. They enjoy hunting, and it's quite. I think that the government still, even though this inquiry recommended for duck hunting to be banned, I think that the government's still going to have a lot of trouble if they try and implement this recommendation.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because Daniel Andrews, sort of unlike him, when this came up a couple of months ago, was sitting on the fence. And the reason he did it, I think, David, is the powerful CFMEU that tips huge amounts of money into the Labor Party during election campaigns in Victoria said, hang on a minute, half of our members love going duck hunting. You can't do that.
Yeah, and it's not just the CFMEU, also the ETU, AMWU, a lot of these unions. But one of the really interesting things that I noticed from the report when I went through it today, I haven't had a chance to read the report in its entirety, is that one of the government members of the committee wrote a minority report. This was Miss Watt, and she is one of the few actual Aboriginal members of Parliament. And in her recommendation, she didn't, in her minority report, she didn't recommend banning duck hunting. She simply stated that there needs to be more Indigenous involvement and tightening up of compliance. So I think that, I don't know what sort of pressures she's under within the Labor Party, but it was certainly very significant that, a Labor Party MP who went along with the government but still felt the need to write a minority report on this issue around hunting. I think it signals that the government is going to have a lot of trouble if they try and outlaw hunting in Victoria.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Thank you very much for that, David. I mean, I think one of the issues there that's going to be very interesting for people is this idea that Indigenous Australians should still have the right to go out and hunt. And the voice is coming. That's what's next.